Leading us today are two of the experts behind it all, Ben Morley, VP of Product, and Erica Dingman, Associate Director of Product Marketing at Movable Inc. So, welcome Ben and Erica.
We're gonna have fun tonight. You feel me? Let's go.
I'm Ben Morley. I'm VP of Product at Movable Inc. I'm joined by my friend, Erica Dingman, Associate Director of Marketing at Movable Inc. as well. And we are going to spend the next 15, 20 minutes talking to you about how to take two approaches to personalization through the lens of our two products, Vinci and Studio, and use them in your program together. Erica, why don't you get us started?
Sure. Well, before we dive into the better together, I do want to take a second to talk about personalization. Yes, I know it's 2025, and we all have some version of personalization. Nobody's impressed by dear first name anymore. But today's personalization is also about more than dynamic fields and segmentation. It's about the intersection of data and AI and thoughtful design, because that's what makes relevant real-time content, and that's what moves the needle. Now, with Vinci and Studio, they both solve for different personalization challenges. And you might even think of them as separate tools. But when you combine them, that's how you can unlock new levels of personalization opportunities and at scale. So think back to some of your own campaigns. How often are you creating 1 or 2 or even 10 variations, still knowing that you cannot possibly create unique content for every single person in your file? And honestly, how could you, right? If you don't have AI, that would be impossible, because millions of variations could take years. But more importantly, customers are nuanced, and they're fickle. They do not fit neatly into one segment, and they are all at different stages of the customer journey. So what are you supposed to do? Well, with Vinci and Studio together, you can solve for multiple use cases at the same time. So today, we're going to walk you through real examples of how to actually use these two products together, and in a way that really complements each other, so that you can build campaigns that resonate, and you can do so efficiently. But before we show the actual how-to, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So I'm going to walk you through Vinci's approach to personalization, and Ben's going to walk you through Studio's approach to personalization. So starting with Vinci. Vinci is an AI personalization solution specifically for the batch program. And in solving that batch challenge, you really need more than one AI model. You need a system of coordinated models all working together to drive business outcomes. I like to think of Vinci as sort of asking a series of questions to make sure the right story is getting in front of the right customer. So for example, out of all of the creatives in my library, which is the right one to send to this specific customer? And what time should I send that message? In fact, should I even send that message? Like, maybe it's not the right day. If I do send that message, how am I going to capture their attention? And based on how they engage, or don't, because we all know that happens too, what can I do with the signal they're giving back to us to then refine our strategy for the next send, and the next send, and the send after that? So all of this is in service of a better customer experience, because you're creating individualized content to an audience of one. And yes, this will, of course, also drive revenue lift, but it's more about creating a better quality program with a healthier customer file. Now, Ben, why don't you walk us through Studio's approach?
Yes. So with Vinci, you've got the suite of AI models driving your program forward, like Erica mentioned. And with Studio, we're really talking about taking your data and taking your own rules and creating infinite content variations to get true one-to-one personalized content. How does that work exactly with Studio? Studio takes an experience that you want to drive to your consumers, and it decomposes a creative experience into layers. Each one of those layers can have rules that you set up, business logic, and its own data. At the end of the day, what you get is true one-to-one personalized experience out to everyone in your file at the moment that they engage. So it starts with the one, but Studio is able to power you through 1,000, 1,000,000 infinite variations. So not only are you getting one-to-one personalized content, but that content is always relevant at the moment they engage, because Studio's pulling in geo-targeting, live pricing, pricing and inventory, personalized loyalty offers, and much more. So at the end of the day, your customers are getting relevant experiences at the exact moment that they engage in any channel.
Okay, so I'm sure by now you are all wondering how this thing actually works. How do we use these two together? Well, it starts in the Vinci workflow. That's where you're going to build your templates and add in Studio content modules. Let's take a look.
So your program is probably pretty diverse. You're likely executing multiple strategies at the same time. Each strategy likely has multiple touch points, multiple tactics involved. And to do all that, you probably have a diverse set of email templates that you're using. When you get started with Vinci, you have that ability to implement that flexibility into your templates. And key to what Eric and I will talk about when we talk about two different approaches to personalization is that templating approach allows you to pull in content and modules that leverage the approaches to personalization that make sense based on your own strategies.
So if we dig into one of these templates more specifically, you can see here that they're assembled through content blocks. And you can drag and drop these content blocks in whatever makes sense for your specific template. Within those content blocks, you can choose between static or dynamic. And within dynamic, you can choose Vinci for AI-led content decisioning or Studio for data-powered content generation. And here's what that looks like. We have Studio. We have Vinci curating the message, really deciding on that main story for the rest of the email. And we have Studio generating content based on your business logic and customer data. So it's one cohesive email from top to bottom.
Yeah, so that's right. So let's start to make it real now. Let's get into some real-world examples. Erica is going to get us started talking through what it's like with something real simple around product recommendations.
Sure, thanks, Ben. All right, let's bring this to life. So here we have Vinci decisioning on a premium watch creative. And I want to emphasize that this is for one customer. This is not what's scheduled on the calendar for everyone on the list. That means somebody else in the same campaign could get kitchenware or furniture or shoes from the same retailer on any given day. But in this case, they're choosing this watch based on what we know about the customer. And here's where Studio steps in. Studio content is directly influenced by what you see in the main story. And Studio is filling out a product grid. And most product grids from retailers, maybe they're best sellers. But in this case, Studio is using what we know about Vinci and the customer to show us maybe other premium watches the customer may have browsed or even abandoned in their cart. And because this is all very granular and totally aligned, that means if Vinci is sending out a Cartier watch, Studio is not going to show you some Timex in the sale bin. It's all cohesive. So you can send out one campaign with thousands, if not millions of variations, but in a way that feels really thoughtful and intentional.
All right, let's look at another example. Let's talk about something that I think every marketer in the room, regardless of industry, has to do, which is drive promotion success. If we go to the next slide, in this example, we're looking at promotion through the lens of the travel industry. Let's say it's time for a site-wide sale. And this is another really powerful case where you can combine two approaches to AI personalization. Key to promotion success is driving urgency, of course. But what you really want to leverage the AI models to do is determine the right message to send to everybody within that promotion. Now, you're going to curate a set of creatives that the AI models are going to leverage. You know those creatives are right for that promotion. And so Vinci is going to drive your program forward, making the right choices and the right story to tell for every single person on your file, ultimately improving your file health, but ultimately driving that promotion success as well. While with Studio, you see we've got a banner that's doing the countdown timer. Why does that make sense through using a dynamic tool like Studio that's rules-based? Well, if you're going global and you have a countdown timer that's going to be driven to folks around the world in different time zones, your team doesn't want to be in there trying to drive an experience that has to be manually done for everybody across time zones. Studio is going to handle that for you automatically. Also, you can set it once, and if you want to increase the urgency later in the promotion period, Studio will automate that as well. It'll also automate if at the end of the promotion someone engages and you need that countdown timer to say something completely different because the promotion's over. So you combine the power of the AI models making the right decisions for every person with the dynamic rules-based approach of Studio so that no matter when anyone engages, they're getting an experience that makes sense for them and is right for your brand. All right, let's do another one here. Let's tried and true method, abandoned cart. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is a great one for driving revenue. But within a batch program, you have to think, my audience is small. How do I approach this successfully, right? So this is something that's really powerful when you combine both of these together. Your abandoned cart audience, you are going to want Vinci to take a look at your full file, and drive the right story to everybody on your list. How you combine the AI models with Studio's approach is that you can use Studio so that the only folks who get the experience of abandoned cart are the folks that are in that small audience. You combine the power of the AI models to drive the right story to your full file, and Studio can run the abandoned cart module continuously, driving resource savings for your team that's always on, and drive that revenue.
OK, so by now you've all seen how we can use Studio content above DaVinci and Studio content below DaVinci. But now I'm going to show you how to use Studio and DaVinci in the same creative asset. So here you can see we have the Cruise brand, that's Cruise with a Z, and DaVinci is sending out a creative of one of their ships. Now that makes sense for one of their subscribers, but it doesn't make sense for Ben and I, who are also subscribers. Now, DaVinci is probably going to send me something more like an onboard spa experience, maybe a facial, a nice massage. That's what's relevant to me. But Ben over here is probably going to get shuffleboard because he's a square. But in both of our cases, we're going to see the same $299 deal. And that's because Studio is powering real-time pricing and inventory. Now, here's why that matters. For me, if I open my email, I see the $299, I click, and I convert. Now I have a vacation. Great. But if Ben over here waits a week to open his email, a lot can happen. Say there's a new wave of tariffs, and that price is now $399. Now, that's still a really good deal, but if we didn't have Studio, and Ben opened his email and saw one price, but went to the website and saw another, he would probably be pretty disappointed. It's an inconsistent experience. He might even be angry, but he definitely wouldn't convert. But we don't have to worry about that here because we do have Studio. So now, when Ben opens his email, he's going to see the correct price because Studio dynamically updates at the moment of engagement. And Studio is really the only tool that can do that for you. Now, I know we've covered a lot today, so I do just want to take a second to recap everything we've gone through. First, DaVinci. DaVinci is that AI-led personalization solution specifically for the batch program. It's going to power that main story of your email amongst many other things, but we all know it starts with content. It's going to give you that true one-to-one experience.
And when you combine that with Studio's dynamic, rules-based, and data-powered approach, your clients are always going to get a relevant experience at the exact moment that they engage, and something that your team can continue to reuse without having to go back into systems and make changes constantly.
And by leveraging DaVinci and Studio together, that's how you're able to create that really cohesive email from top to bottom, and you can maximize your personalization opportunities, which in turn can maximize results. So thank you guys so much for being here today. We love talking about this stuff, so if you do want to continue the conversation, talk through some more use cases, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thanks.